Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to talk about post-processing volume because in the last one, we did some lighting for our scene by using different types of light and adding a volumetric fog as well. But in this one, we want to contribute a little bit more towards our gloomy scene by using post-processing volume and changing some settings over there and color grade it as well. So this will be an introduction to post-processing volume. I won't get into details of every settings that post-processing volume has, but instead talk more about the settings that we're going to be using. So let's go into our Unreal Engine. Now here, this is where we have left off. I've changed the second window into unlit just to give us a boost on our performance. So to add a post-processing volume, you have to go into your place actors and search for post-process, and you'll see post-process volume over here. Now it has a little box. So the way Unreal Engine and post-process volumes work is that we have a box, and within there, everything that we change in the settings of the post-process volume will only get affected within the bounds of this box. Now in games, people use this post-process volume in different areas of the level to create different moods for different biomes or levels for the level, biomes or parts of the level. But for our case, we want this to be infinite. We want this to cover across our whole ground. So in search for the detail panel, let's search a infinite, and you'll see infinite extent unbound. So let's tick that, and it will give us the infinite bound. Even though the box hasn't changed, it will get affected to our whole level, because if I were to change this intensity of the bloom, you can see how it's being affected. So let's add a little bit of bloom into our scene like that. And now we're going to scroll down until we see color grading. So here we have some color grading over here. And in here, we're going to change our temperature and tint. So I want to make this a little bit colder looking. So drop down our temperature like this. Not too much, because if you drop too much, it's going to make it look super blue. So just a tad like that, and I'm going to tint it towards the pink, just a bit like that. And we have saturation and contrast over here. I want to boost the contrast a bit, like so. And maybe I drop down the temperature a little bit too much, so let's bring it up a little. And let's saturate our image a bit more so we have our greens pop. And we have our gamma control as well, so maybe we can drop our gamma down a little bit like this. And now we can change our contrast back because we just dropped down our gamma. So let's bring it down just a bit like this. Now we have our offset as well. This is going to offset some of our settings. Just maybe we can increase it by 0.1, just like that. And we have our shadow controls over here as well. Maybe for shadow gamma, we can change how dark or how bright this shadows are. But I think we're going to just leave it as a default value. And we have some film settings over here. Now we have some slope that we can test around. Just play with the sliders until you find something that you like. Usually that goes well. Instead of explaining every single thing that it does, it's better for you to experiment with these settings to find the right look that you want. So I think this is looking good already. Now what I want to do is going back into bloom, and then maybe we can bring it up a little, and I want to increase our fog. So let's go into our exponential light fog again, and let's search for volumetric fog, and we have scattering distribution. Let's bring it up a little bit, and we have our fog density over here as well. Let's bring it up, and let's see if we can change the height fall off of our fog. So I think something around this amount would do. Now we have some more settings that we can change. For instance, the albedo of the fog. Let's change this so around blue like this. That is looking quite nice. And I'm actually loving how this is looking already. So I think this is good. And now we're gonna go into our sky atmosphere over here and change some of the settings in here. We have atmosphere height. I want to drop this down a little bit. You can see it being affected just a tad. Maybe around 12 might be good. And we have our Rayleigh scattering scale. You can see how this is being affected, but maybe we can drop it down. Just around that looks okay. Sometimes these tweaks are very, very small, but it will make a huge difference of the whole image. So let's actually make this a little bit bigger so that we can see. Now we have the scattering color as well, which we can change, but I don't really want to change it yet. And we have our scattering scale. This will make it darker or brighter like this. But I think this is okay. Or maybe just leave it as a default value. I think that was a little bit better. And another setting that we want to change is the scattering scale under atmosphere May. I think that's how you pronounce it. That will give us, if we want, a gloomy look, like a moody, overcast look. So if you increase the scale, you can see it being affected a little, and it's gonna get into that overcast look that we are looking. But I want our sun to be a little bit visible as well. So we're gonna increase this just a bit so that we have some shadows, and we can change where the light is coming from to get a different look. Maybe around there. Oops, what am I moving? I need to move the directional light. So let's tweak our directional light until we have found some place that we like. I do like shining from the back like this. That looks quite nice. But maybe I want some shadows on our roof. Kind of like that. That looks okay. Now let's go back into our post-processing volume and tweak some of the settings again. I think the saturation is right now too much. So let's drop it down a bit, and then we can go into our contrast and bring it up like that. And that looks okay. And in our exponential high fog, we can bring up our high fog density to somewhere around like 0.7, 0.2, 1, something like that. And I think that looks okay. Maybe how did it look before? Okay, 0.08 might be good, and that looks quite decent. And you can move your exponential high fog up to get more fog as well. So that is something that you can do, but to make sure that it has some fog around this area, and that is looking quite good. But right now we are lacking some shadows around here. So what we can do here is go back into our sky atmosphere and adjust the scattering scale again. What about this scale? and adjust its scale. That's looking generally better. And in our skylight, what we can do here is we can change some different settings. Like for instance, you can even turn off real-time capture and use a specified cube map. And Unreal Engine comes with some ambient cube maps already, and you can change these like this, and that looks quite nice. We can change our intensity scale to about 3 or maybe even 2. But I think this color is not doing any justice, so let's just go back to our real-time capture and change the intensity back down to 1, maybe even lower, like 0.7, and I think that looks quite good. Now we have some shadows around our area, and that looks quite good. But I want to tweak the fog colors again, so let's go back into here, and we have our albedo, and we can change our fog color to somewhere blue like this. And then we have over here, sky atmosphere contribution, changes to a little bit blue, fog and scattering color, changes to a little, it's blue. Or maybe, yeah, I do like this. So I think this is looking quite nice. Now, in the next part, once we do some set dressing, we're going to add more lights to add towards the full render. And we're going to add more assets to contribute to the detailing. And yeah, I think I will see you in the next one.